Few can put words and music together quite like this legend. But what are his absolute greatest works? We're here to find out. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Stephen Sondheim musicals.
The songs will be written by Broadway's greatest composer. This guy. What's your name again, Fuzzface?
Stephen Sondheim.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we'll be looking at the greatest musicals that involved Stephen Sondheim, whether that be as the composer or lyricist.
Thoughts on Sondheim's super mashup, like epic to the power of epic, we'll all probably die while singing it. You in?
I'm in.
Number 10. A funny thing happened on the way to the Forum.
Something familiar, something peculiar, something for everyone, a comedy tonight.
This musical is a bona fide classic, and the leading role of Pseudolus is one of the most acclaimed roles in Broadway history. The story follows an ancient Roman slave who helps his master win over a girl in exchange for his freedom.
Everybody ought to have a mate, someone who'll be busy as a bumblebee, and even if you grumble, be as graceful as a grouse.
Many notable actors have portrayed the character throughout the years, and every actor to have played him on Broadway, such as Zero Mostel, Phil Silvers, and Nathan Lane, has won a Tony Award for Best Leading Actor. In fact, the original 1962 production took home 6 Tony Awards, including the coveted Best Musical. Unfortunately, Stephen Sondheim's composing and lyrical work for it was not and has never been recognized.
Nothing for kings, nothing for crowns, something for lovers, liars, and clowns.
Number 9. Pacific Overtures.
In the middle of the world we float, in the middle of the sea. The realities remain remote, in the middle of the sea.
Speaking of unrecognized work, Pacific Overtures is one of Stephen Sondheim's underappreciated musicals, largely because it's rarely performed. This is due to the style and exorbitant production costs of the musical. It requires the involvement of numerous male Asian actors, and they must perform both the male and female roles, with the play staged in the traditional Japanese kabuki style. Then there's the 27-piece orchestra, which even Broadway can no longer do. The original show was critically praised and nominated for 10 Tony Awards, but it ultimately only ran for 193 performances. Sometimes, a work of grand ambition can be too much for the medium.
If it happened I was there, I saw everything, I was someone in a tree. Tell him what I see.
Number 8. Assassins.
Everybody's got the right to be happy.
Stephen Sondheim feared that Assassins would be too bleak and controversial, especially as a follow-up to his family-friendly Into the Woods. The former follows various historical characters who have attempted to assassinate or who have successfully assassinated American presidents, including John Wilkes Booth, John Hinckley Jr., and Lee Harvey Oswald. Most notably, he attempts to humanize them, as it explores their character, their motivations, and the provocations of American political culture.
What I did well, and I did it for my country.
Luckily, despite its controversial subject and approach, the play was an enormous success, and it contains a unique soundtrack that mixes a wide range of genres from throughout history. The multiple Tony Award winner is one of Sondheim's most daring and uncompromising works, and undeniably among his most memorable.
Everybody's got the right to some sunshine. Not the sun, but maybe one of its beams, one of its beams.
Number 7. Gypsy.
Everything's coming up, roses for me and for you.
Gypsy is one of the most renowned musicals in American history. It follows Rose, a harsh and overbearing stage mother who forces her daughters into show business.
If Mama was married, I'd jump in the air and give all my toe shoes to you.
It's based on the life and memoirs of Gypsy Rose Lee, a burlesque entertainer from the early 20th century who became famous for her provocative striptease. It originally ran on Broadway from 1959 to 1961 and has been revived 4 times, winning a combined total of 6 Tony Awards. The character of Rose has since become iconic, and the work features a timeless soundtrack that includes the classic Rose's Turn, which is often regarded as one of the most show-stopping 11 o'clock numbers in Broadway history.
Everything's coming up roses this time for me.
Number 6. Company.
Company. Maybe Sondheim's best. Isn't it warm? Isn't it rosy? Side by side.
Company is yet another example of how Stephen Sondheim enjoys pushing buttons and breaking boundaries. Company follows a man named Robert, whose 35th birthday celebration brings together his 3 girlfriends and numerous married friends. Sondheim wanted to address the issues and problems of Broadway attendees of the time, that is, the rich and the upper middle class.
Listen, everybody, I'm afraid you didn't hear, or do you want to see a crazy lady fall apart in front of you? It isn't only Paul who may be ruining his life. You know what, both of us be losing our identities. I telephoned my analyst about it, and he said to see him Monday, but by Monday I'll be floating in the Hudson with the other garbage. I'm not well.
According to Sondheim, these people went to the theater to escape their troubles, but he wanted to present the audience with the realities of their lifestyles. Luckily, they weren't too offended. In fact, Company was praised for its realism and adult themes.
Somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive.
It was nominated for a then-record 14 Tony Awards, winning 6, including Best Musical and both Best Score and Best Lyrics for Sondheim. Number 5. A Little Night Music.
Liaison. What's happened to them? Liaison today.
A Little Night Music is one of Sondheim's most complex works. It's famous for being particularly challenging for both the performers and musicians, as the singing contains many high notes, and the score employs difficult time signatures and intricate arrangements.
We're off on our way, what a beautiful day for a weekend in the country. How amusing, how delightfully droll, a weekend in the country.
But while it may be a pain for performers, it's a delight for audiences. The musical contains one of Sondheim's greatest and most melancholic scores, a Tony-winning tour de force that encompasses the many aspects and faces of love. Topping it off is the classic showstopper Send in the Clowns, which has since become one of Sondheim's most popular songs. Having Frank Sinatra cover it probably helped a bit.
In my career, and where are the clowns?
Number 4. Sunday in the Park with George. Sunday in the Park with George came at a hard time in Sondheim's life. His previous work, Merrily We Roll Along, had just bombed, and he was left contemplating his future in theater.
Look, I made a hat. Where there never was a hat.
His frequent collaborator James Lapine convinced him to carry on, and the two were soon inspired by the painting A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jatte. They then wrote a musical about its painter Georges Seurat and the creative process involved in producing the work.
Triangular water.
What resulted was an utterly magnificent play that has won numerous accolades, including 2 Tonys, 7 Laurence Olivier Awards, and even the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. Much like the painting that inspired it, this musical is a masterpiece. Number 3. West Side Story. We don't think it's hyperbole to call West Side Story one of the most important works in theater history. The first Broadway production, which also happened to be Sondheim's Broadway debut, opened at the Winter Garden in September 1957 and ran for a whopping 732 performances. It was also nominated for 6 Tony Awards, winning for choreography and scenic design. A very successful West End production followed, as did a movie that won an astounding 10 Academy Awards.
I like to be in America, okay by me in America, everything free in America.
For a small fee in America.
It was a groundbreaking theatrical performance in many ways, from its unique blending of musical genres to its Shakespearean story and topical themes surrounding social issues and racism. Even early in his career, Sondheim and his lyrics were taking risks and changing the landscape and course of Broadway. Number 2. Into the Woods. Into the Woods is another stellar entry in the Sondheim-Lapine pantheon. It tells an exceptional and magical story involving the intertwining of numerous Charles Perrault and Brothers Grimm stories and their classic fairy tale characters.
Into the woods to fetch the things,
To have the child, to go to the festival,
into the woods without regret, the choice is made, the task is set.
And like most of Sondheim's musicals, it contains mature themes, including the blurry nature of morality, the costs of wish fulfillment, and the consequential nature of parent-child relationships.
Stay a child while you can be a child.
True to fairy tales, it mixes childish wonder and magic with important life lessons and heady themes, all brought to life with a delightful Tony Award-winning score by Sondheim. It has since become one of his most popular and most performed works, for good reason.
Witches can be right, giants can be good. You decide what's right.
You decide what's good.
Talk about range. But you somehow always know when it's Sondheim, and it's probably because there's no room to breathe. Looking at you getting married today. Before we look at Sondheim's greatest accomplishment, here are a few honorable mentions.
Oh, were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind?
Not a day goes by, not a blessed day. But though I want to live, I now can live with what I never knew.
Please don't cough. It tends to throw the actors off. Have some respect for Aristophanes, and please don't cough.
Everybody says don't, everybody says can't, everybody says wait around for miracles. That's the way the world is made.
Number 1. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Cause the lives of the wicked should be made brief. For the rest of us, death will be a relief. We all deserve to die.
Sweeney Todd is not an original work, as it's based off a 1973 play by Christopher Bond, which in turn was inspired by the character found in the Penny Dreadfuls of Victorian England. But despite this, it was Sondheim's music and lyrics that elevated the story of Sweeney Todd into pop culture consciousness.
Did you write this?
No.
Who did?
Stephen Sondheim.
Who is he?
Swing your razor wide, Sweeney, hold it to the sky.
He also gave Sweeney a complexity and humanity that he'd been missing for over a century, while still retaining the visceral horror of the story. The result was a macabre work whose original Broadway production won 8 Tonys, and whose original London production nabbed 2 Olivier Awards.
Did you come here for a pie, sir? Do forgive me if me head's a little vague. Ugh, what is that? But you think we had the plague?
It has since been revived and adapted on numerous occasions. It's one of the most affecting musicals of all time, and arguably unlike anything else you'll see on the stage.
Pretty women sitting in the windows.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.